Hey Jacqueline, how about we watch Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series?
Yeah, sure, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
And then after that we can watch episode 3.
Right, because that comes next.
Yeah.
And then we can watch all of canon Star Wars! How did you like Star Wars?
It's very long. I really enjoyed it. We started watching every single canon thing of Star Wars because episode 9 is coming out.
I don't even think that was the reason we started, though.
Well, we always wanted to finish Clone Wars.
That was the reason we started, was because we just started watching Clone Wars.
Yeah, it was on Netflix at the time, and we were like, oh, we need to watch it.
And then they were like, oh, we're gonna take Clone Wars off because Disney Plus, and we're like, well, we gotta watch all of Clone Wars now. So we got like halfway through it on Netflix, and then we had to borrow Alex's mom's Amazon Prime, because she like owns all of it. And then after that, we went, well, after Clone Wars is episode 3, so let's watch that next. And then after that, we were kind of like, would Solo be next?
We started watching all of it. We wanted to recap on every single Star Wars thing to get ready for episode 9.
So, starting with the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars.
How did you feel about Clone Wars? Not the Gendy one, the 3D animated one.
What's his name?
Oh,
I forgot already.
Dave Filoni.
Filoni. I really liked it. It was really long. Almost with anything, it takes a minute for it to pick up, but then had like, what, 6?
Yeah, I want to say like
16?
season 1 was like, eh. And then it was like, oh, okay, I'm engaged.
So I just remember going to bed, it would come on and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I like this or not. I don't know what's going on, because I didn't really get into the backstory of Star Wars until like recently. I really like the Clone Wars. It's a solid TV series. There's a lot of like expanded universe stuff. There's a lot of filler, but it's also, but it's fun.
There's too many episodes where it's like, we gotta throw in Jar Jar. Don't you want to see Jar Jar Binks' girlfriend?
No.
Don't you want to see Jar Jar Binks kiss someone?
I want to see the Jedi wizards that controlled everything.
Really crazy lore that they expand on. Clone Wars, it started off and it was like, haha, funny battle droids, and look, the heroes saved the day. To like, seasons later on, like, oh, that person got impaled. Or, oh, they like, just murdered everybody.
They're swearing. This is on Cartoon Network. It's a lot, but it's fun.
I think my favorite thing that Clone Wars does is not only expands upon the characters of Anakin and Obi-Wan and adds one of the greatest characters, Ahsoka Tano.
She was actually really good.
Yeah.
I didn't like her at first, but as the series went on, you're like, oh, we watched her learn and grow up. She's fucking badass.
Yeah, and then we also get a shit ton of expansion on Darth Maul's character and the Mandalorians.
It's different when you're watching it as a kid, depending on when you watched it. Like, I was in middle school or high school, I can't remember. Because I never really paid attention to it. I wasn't super into it as I am right now. I'm an adult and I'm just paying attention to everything. And I'm like, oh shit, this is actually pretty dope. Like, this is a good story. This is super nerdy. It's fun.
It's really
fun.
So,
that's Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars.
TV series.
Well, and then the one thing I wanted to touch on is that they fix Anakin's character with Clone Wars.
Anakin is the best character.
They make him the good, wholesome, good guy that he was, like, meant to be, that you don't really...
He is.
But you don't really get that out of the prequel films, I feel. You only see his broken side in the prequel films.
Well, you see, like, all the, like, love and shit, and then...
But that's not him being
like,
a good guy.
Questioning the Jedi.
That's not him being the good guy, though.
Well,
I mean,
then you get into politics.
Well, yeah, then you get into the politics on how, like, messed up the Jedi Order is and how they just...
But, whatever, this is family fun.
Clone Wars, thumbs up. And after that, we're like, well, immediately after is Revenge of the Sith. So let's watch that movie.
So we're watching 6 seasons of a CGI animated TV show. And then we go straight into this live-action prequel that came out.
That's shot in front of a computer instead of inside of it.
And it's the weirdest thing because we were so used to watching this fucking TV series for so long. And then we see Anakin, when he's in the Starfighter, he comes down, he's with R2-D2. We're like, oh my god, like, this is
real.
Revenge of the Sith, I think, is my favorite prequel.
Usually people go, yeah, Revenge of the Sith is the best of the prequels.
Watching that after Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith looked like... The editing looked like shit.
Yeah.
It was so
When the
bad compared to like watching like a TV series that was like,
and the script
planned out and
was way
shit.
worse than Clone Wars too.
It was so weird.
The script was so just
weird. Because I didn't remember it like that.
Disjointed, and you see General Grievous throughout all of the Clone Wars, and you get all this development,
Oh, yeah.
and then you see him in Revenge of the Sith, and with all the context of Clone Wars, you're like, oh, okay, General Grievous. But then if you like sit there for a moment and you're trying to think, what if I didn't know all this stuff about General Grievous?
I feel sorry for general audience if they're not watching Rebels or not Rebels,
Clone Wars,
TV
Rebels, and all of it too.
I mean, honestly,
we'll get into
like
it.
if you don't watch a TV series, you're just out of the loop.
It's-
if you read the books,
series.
I guess
it's
you're
a series
fine.
for the fans now. It's not for those normies.
You were always into it. You paid attention to everything. You didn't really watch like the TV series until later, but
I knew all the names of all the characters just because, I would get the Germonian Guard.
but
Play with it.
But Revenge of the Sith was definitely nice to watch after Clone Wars because you get it's like a big close-up chapter to it. Also, Disney Plus is making a last season for the Clone Wars TV series that's coming out.
Big hype.
That's finalizing it, which is going to be closer to Revenge of the Sith, like literally right after or right before. It's just cool how everything ties in and you know everything about the characters and where they're at. And Revenge of the Sith, it's action-packed, I have the high ground, all that stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, but I feel like the one thing for me is that, like, I always remembered Revenge of the Sith, like, even though it's definitely
Was
not...
the one.
It's not, and though it's the one of the prequels, it's definitely not, like, the best Star Wars film, but out of the 3 prequels, everyone's like, this one's the best. But upon watching it the last time we did, I was like, this is awful.
It was just weird. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm older, because I watched something that was nicer and it was a TV series.
Silly.
It's very silly. Episode 3 was horrible but dope. After that, we watched
Solo, a Star Wars story!
Mind you, we're re-watching everything. And it's been a minute since we've watched some of it. So Solo, I watched in the theaters.
This might have been my second, I think it was my second time watching Solo when we watched it that time. But then I watched it again very recently, back to back with Rogue One. I really like Solo.
Okay, who cares about the promotion poster if it looks like shit?
Oh, the marketing was garbage.
Whatever.
That's why it didn't do well.
Okay, that movie was good. The only bad thing to me was they could have turned on some lights.
Lighting was really bad.
Lighting was really bad.
It was
I don't know what was going on. I don't know if they had a rush or
I think the actors showed up and they said everyone's in charge of their own lighting.
I thought it was fine. The whole like, oh, what's your last name? Solo. Like, I don't know. It's like a nonchalant thing that's okay.
That
with
part,
me,
upon rewatching that movie for like the 3rd or 4th time, I thought about it, and I'm like,
it's not
he
bad.
doesn't make that decision for himself. The guy who was typing his name into like his ID card thing did it for him. He was like, oh, you're by yourself, you don't have a name, so you're Han, and you're by Solo. You're Han.
The guy was
here
doing
you go.
his job. I mean.
So, like, I thought about it, and, like, you know what? That was cool. We didn't need it. His name could have just been Han Solo.
Because everyone's
without
backstory.
a reason.
Is he a Solo family? And
but if you had to give it a reason, that was a good way to do it. Because they could have done it worse, and he could have been like, I'm on my own. I'm Solo. Gives it a wink, holds up his Coca-Cola thermal detonator. It could have been bad, and it wasn't. It was great.
It was a nonchalant, I did not mind. Donald Glover was great. I'm so glad he did that, because he loved Lando Calrissian. He grew up with him too, so that was pretty dope.
So I personally have played like at least 3 different Star Wars RP campaigns, which if you don't know what that is, it's like Dungeons and Dragons, but Star Wars. And to me, Solo feels like a movie of an RP campaign, but one of the party members is Han Solo and with Chewbacca. It's like, oh, we gotta go to this train and do this thing. Oh, roll a d20. Oh, the train blew up. Rocks fall, everyone's dead.
I like Chewbacca. As long as he doesn't move fast and do the Gangnam Style at Star Wars weekends at Hollywood Studios, I'm fine. Otherwise, I like Chewbacca. The whole World War II like scene with Solo
when they're in the trenches and everything.
I was like, When I first saw that, I'm like, whoa, what is going on?
Well, and so I guess taking that and segueing into Rogue One is that
That's definitely...
both of those films don't try to go... I mean, they do, hey, thing you recognize, but they also try pretty hard to say, here's something we haven't shown in Star Wars before.
I thought it was dope.
Like, here's trench warfare in Star Wars, or Rogue One, for example, here's super elite the Death Troopers, or Beach Planet, and there's a special stormtrooper for the Beach Planet. Even if you, like, look in the background with all the details and everything, there's things that are never been in Star Wars before.
Woody Harrelson was in it.
Yeah. And
we're talking about Solo still, right?
Yeah, I was kind of segueing into Rogue One just because they were similar. Well, one thing I wanted to touch on with Woody Harrelson's particularly is I like how they just have that one-off line where he's like, yeah, I pushed Aura Singh off a cliff.
Yeah, they didn't need to do that. They could have kept Aura Singh in, because she's the only, like, I don't
She's the most marketable one at Star Wars weekend.
Yeah, if you watch the Star Wars weekend...
Cue dance video.
I love you so.
And we're back.
I thought it was a cool way to kind of tie the lore together, like, oh, they interacted, and then obviously Darth Maul at the end.
I was really confused until I watched
all of Clone Wars
a year later.
And that's the beginning of where, like, oh, Star Wars isn't for the average it's for the fans now.
I mean,
It's for people who give us all their money, not just some of it, all of it.
Because it's such a big space soap opera franchise that everybody is obsessed with. It's
I mean,
the most obsessed series ever.
Watching Clone Wars made me realize that I think I enjoy Star Wars better as a series, which is why I'm so hyped for, like...
Not just like that was a good movie.
Yeah, not like 2 hours and let's cram everything we can get in Last Jedi. We'll get to that. So segueing from Solo to Rogue One...
No.
Yes.
No.
Solo to...
Solo to Rebels.
Oh, I skipped one of my favorite things.
Solo to Rebels. You want to check Wikipedia and check the timeline. Hello. So we have to watch Rebels. I honestly never heard of it when we started watching it this year. We start watching it and I'm like, what is this Nick Jr. shit? I can't watch this shit. This is dumb. I don't know what the hell this is. I want to watch it because I've seen Darth Vader clips in it. I've seen Ahsoka clips in it. Chopper is really cool, but like I didn't get it for the first season. It was so hard to watch. And then once you get to season 2, promise you it's worth watching all of it. Wasn't it like 4 seasons?
Yeah, it's 4 seasons.
Yeah, it's totally worth it, and it came around so good. It was such like a shit Nick Jr. kid show, and then it turned into this like whole backstory of the expanded universe and the Jedi Temple, and the wizards come back from Clone Wars. They reference a lot of things from Clone Wars, and mind you, Disney already bought Star Wars, I think, when they made Rebels. So,
Rebels was the first, like one of the first like Disney productions.
That's why I'm hopeful for episode 9 to be really good, since if they reference Rebels in episode 9...
Because they reference episode 7 in Rebels. Like, there's this, not gonna spoil too much.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't watched any of this, spoilers. But there's like a time thing that happens, and Ezra hears Rey's voice in the time thing.
Yeah, they already know.
The Jedi Temple time portal thing that's at the end of Rebels, I think is gonna be key to episode 9.
Yeah,
because
it definitely is.
It's got Palpatine with his blue fire, and what does Palpatine have in front of him in the episode 9 poster?
A Hot Toys figure.
Yes, but also... blue fire.
Rebels shows so much of what the Force is, what Jedis can do, what happened after Order 66, more of the Mandalorians.
Oh yeah, a lot more of them.
That was interesting. I wonder if they're gonna put that in the Mandalorian.
Sabine's gotta be in the Mandalorian.
I fucking hope so.
Oh, so my favorite thing about Rebels was, I think I watched season 1 before we started this watch through. I think I watched all of season 1 with Alex a long time ago, but it left my memory. Watching season 1, I'm like, I don't care about these characters. Like, who cares about this kid? Who cares about the washed up Jedi? I guess Steve Blum's cool. Who's this punky, hot topic Mandalorian? And then I kind of like Twi'lek pilot lady. She's cool. But then you watch the series and you love the characters at the end. Like, they do such a good job.
And Hera?
Yes.
It's so good. And then who's the blue dude?
Thrawn! That was another great thing, is that they made Thrawn canon in Star Wars.
I wish he was in one of the movies, but I guess no one wanted to be blue. So
That was my thing, is that Krennic in Rogue One, that could have been Thrawn.
Yes.
I really like what they did in Rebels. They kept his character really true to what it had been established to be. They just introduced him pre-Galactic Civil War instead of post-Galactic Civil War, which was interesting. The way they get rid of Thrawn doesn't confirm whether or not he's dead. But Rebels, super good.
Rebels is so worth it.
Loved it.
Please watch Rebels. If you don't want to watch the Clone Wars TV series, watch the Rebels TV series. It is shorter. It's only on Amazon Prime, but I mean by now
It's gonna be on
it's
Disney
gonna be on
Plus.
Disney Plus. So, and we're all getting that in November. Rebels is good. What's after Rebels? Rogue One. When I first watched it, I was really confused. Towards the end, obviously it was good, and then Darth Vader. Watching it again, like 2, 3, 4 more times, it's good because you get the backstory. You got
Saw Gerrera.
We get enough
of
Saw Gerrera.
I want to know. I want to know who came up with Saw Gerrera.
Because he's in Clone Wars, he's in Rebels.
Yeah, and he's going to be in the Jedi Fallen Order.
He's in Rogue One, and he's in a Fallen Order in a video game.
But you get to see him blow up in Rogue One, so I guess that's cool.
I don't understand that character. And there's nothing against actors or anything.
Well, I love Forrest Whitaker. I mean, he's great, and I thought it was really cool that they took his likeness and just made it this character that expands all of the Star Wars universe. And I understand that his character's supposed to be like, what can go wrong with being good? Getting too rebellious, going too far, pushing the limits, basically becoming the bad guy because you're killing the same way they are, so what makes you any better? And I get that's what his character's trying to show. I don't know, enough with him.
Just in Clone Wars and Rebels, it was just so annoying, but in Rogue One, it was funny because you just kept doing impersonation of him.
Save the rebellion! Save the dream! I think he first appeared in Rogue One. No, I think he first appeared in Clone Wars young. So
I know, but who the fuck is gonna remember that besides people who just binge watch all of Star Wars within 5-6 months?
That's the thing, is I think he first appeared in Clone Wars young, so then they're like, oh, well, we can make him old with Forrest Whitaker. And then they were like, well, why don't we put him in Rebels? And why don't we put him in this game, too? Because why not?
Anyways, Rogue One is a good story. It's kind of slow in the beginning. It's not a lot of lightsaber shit until the end, obviously.
I mean, I like all that happens in the story.
But
with
did
Rogue
you
One.
like it when you first watched it? Because the beginning was slow and it picked up gradually.
I liked that they did something different and that they chose a different pacing. To me, Rogue One, upon watching it 4 or 5 times now, it feels like a pilot episode for a TV series. Rogue One is what The Mandalorian is gonna feel like, but The Mandalorian's obviously going to get how many ever episodes to give characters development. Because that was my one issue with all the characters in Rogue One. I cared about the story, and I didn't care about the characters.
Also, wasn't Rogue One, they mentioned Hera from Rebels?
Yeah, so they have some references to Rebels. So they reference Hera over the intercom. They show Chopper in the background, which is the best astromech.
Chopper's actually really dope.
Sorry, R2-D2.
I mean,
and then they show the Ghost, her ship, flying around in the space battle.
You're the only person that can fucking point that out. I did not see that shit.
It's in there. Look it up. I thought that was cool, like another nod to like, hey, if you gave us all of your money, here's this thing.
I wish they would just put more, now that we watched all these.
Now that we watched all of these.
Now that we watched all these movies and TV series, I want to see more of side characters and main characters of TV series and the films and all that. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Well, I think that's what we're gonna get in like The Mandalorian.
It's gonna be like
and the Obi-Wan TV series and all.
No, but I think Episode 9 is gonna be like the Avengers. Like every character is gonna show up.
But yeah, Rogue One. Character's kind of dull. I like the funny robot.
Because do you remember the main character? What's her name?
Jyn Erso. I don't remember anyone else's name besides K2SO.
I like the Mexican actor, and I forgot his name.
Oh, the monks. The one, Chirrut Imwe. The blind guy. And his friend with the gun.
Not...
I'm with the Force. The Force is with me.
Okay, so the whole, like... Wow, I almost said Tropic Thunder.
The Vietnam inspired
scene.
That was cool.
Was fun. Obviously, when shit hits the fan, it's the ending. It's always the fun part. But Rogue One is good, especially if you've watched all of Star Wars or you're really into it. You'll definitely appreciate it more. If you're a general viewer, I don't think you're gonna like it that much, except for the ending. Anyways, Rogue One's good. Next.
Oh, I was gonna talk.
Okay, go.
You're
gonna do Rogue One? Or you're going back to Rebels?
Well, when I first watched Rogue One, I want to say the biggest thing that bothered me was the first time you see Darth Vader in it, when they're in his castle. I thought his costume looked off in that scene.
They turned the light on. Maybe you should have turned it off.
Maybe it should have been like Solo and just turned all the lights off.
Yeah, so Rogue One was good, and then they had Carrie Fisher, and then it literally leads into episode 4. And we watched the original trilogy, episode 4, 5, and 6, on a VHS tape, which was unedited. The only edited part was
the title sequence.
And that
and like
was
maybe
it.
there might have been a handful of things, but it wasn't the early 2000s VHS box set. It was the first released trilogy box set.
In the early 90s.
So that was really cool to watch that and see all like the unedited scenes, see the Tatooine without all the CG garbage that's in front of it.
It's really interesting to watch because like this is what started it all. Everyone's obsessed with these movies. This was in the 70s and the 80s.
We spent days and days watching all these TV shows that are based off of this one movie now.
Yeah, and A New Hope, it's a solid movie. It's not my favorite Star Wars movie, but it's a solid ass movie. I definitely recommend anyone to watch if they've never seen Star Wars.
It's a part of history.
It's a part of history. It's part of every single history.
I feel like there's not a lot to say other than what it is.
You gotta know what it is.
I mean, everything that you can say that was good about it, you probably already know. Same thing with like moving now to Empire.
Episode 5.
Empire's great. Empire's great.
That's everyone's favorite
of the original
movie.
trilogy.
I like Return of the Jedi, but I know Empire Strikes Back's really good. One thing I want to mention, Yoda. Okay, so I am so blown away by Yoda's character at this point because so much stuff happens in Clone Wars. And then we watch Revenge of the Sith, and he says, you know, you see him as like an old elf alien-looking man. You go to episode 5 after watching the CGI TV series and Revenge of the Sith and another CGI TV series, Rebels.
Oh god,
and he's so serious. But no, when you get to episode 5, he's a crazy old Florida man retired in the swamp in Dagobah, and it's just, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, he's really this fucking crazy because he closed off the Force and he's just chilling, like everybody died after Order 66.
Okay, but flash to Yoda and Rebels, he looked awful in that.
Okay, yeah, he did not look good.
What were they thinking?
I don't know.
He looked so bad in Rebels.
They should have just like copy and pasted from Clone Wars to Rebels.
Clone Wars 1 looked kind of weird at first.
It looks like
but
a weird ass Lego, and the Lego looks better than.
But then you're like, it has character. It matches with all the weird design that the rest of the series has.
From watching all this stuff like in order, like super close together within 5-6 months, it's so funny to compare to.
I mean, and to be fair, he does kind of put on an act at first to kind of like confuse Luke because he's trying to see what type of person he is. So he's not trying to be like, I'm the warrior you were looking for.
Funny joke. And I appreciate the puppets. I don't think he's that creepy.
No, but the Phantom Menace puppet was a little...
It was kind of funny.
Weird. Empire Strikes Back, I Am Your Father.
Empire Strikes
Back. Yeah, and then we go to the...
Luke was... Mark Hamill's a really good actor.
Okay, but like, in the unedited Empire Strikes Back that we watched, it has before they knew what the Emperor was. And it has him as that alien with the weird eyes. True. The Emperor. Remember you see that one hologram of him in Empire. And the big, it's just his head. Yeah. And Darth Vader's talking to him while he's sitting in his chair. Yeah. And instead of it being Ian McDiarmid, it's like a weird alien. And that's why I think they won't release the original cuts. Because there's inconsistencies with the current canon.
Because George Lucas didn't know what the fuck to do.
Right.
But we still love him, right?
As much as he loves his salad. So moving from the best Star Wars movie to the almost best Star Wars movie.
Return of the Jedi is the best out of that trilogy. Because Palpatine is in it.
I
like Return of the Jedi.
I like the film Empire Strikes Back better, but I like everything that's in Return of the Jedi better. Like
a lot of people are saying that Episode 9 is going to be like that.
I like the Jabba skiff scene is like one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars.
That is the most like parodied scene ever.
Yeah. It's got the black suit Luke with the green lightsaber, Emperor Palpatine. It's got...
He's like the best character. I mean, like, come on.
But there's one thing that I noticed upon watching Return of the Jedi. First time I realized it. In Jabba's palace, there's a shot where Boba Fett's looking over at something. And I realized he's mirrored. His antenna's on the wrong side of his helmet, and his one shoulder pad's on the wrong side. They flipped the shot.
I can't believe they did that.
So instead of doing a reshoot, because I guess it was too expensive, or they didn't go back, or they forgot.
Why did they flip it, though?
Because I guess they thought it was more important to have Boba Fett looking in the correct direction than it was to have a not mirrored shot. Which to me, I think is fucking bogus. I'd rather have someone look in the wrong direction than to just flip reality around and mirror the shot for an asymmetrical character.
Very detailed.
But the other thing I was gonna say is that upon watching Return of the Jedi, it made me realize that the prequels are what George Lucas always wanted. Because you see...
because of the teddy bears.
You see, so the Ewoks are like kind of silly, but it adds like the comedy to it, which wasn't done in Star Wars yet. You have a space fight that has the most stuff on screen that you could for a movie at that time.
I know, it was pretty
seems
dope.
very dense. Well, no, it looks good in this one because it's still like the models and everything.
What's the
X-Wing, Millennium Falcon, the Death Star,
the planet with the trees,
Endor,
Yeah,
the moon of Endor.
that I like. Endor's
The
pretty
forest moon of Endor. Yeah, I mean, original trilogy, good. Unedited, even better. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Return of the Jedi. What's next?
So then we played
Battlefront 2 video game.
Battlefront
I thought it was
2. I'm really upset that Battlefront 2 got the bad publicity that it did because I
thought it was pretty dope.
Sure, maybe the online was messed up at launch and that can be criticized, but the campaign's actually phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it added a lot of cool stuff to Star Wars. It didn't ruin anything that already existed. It added some pretty compelling and likable characters to the mythos.
The Kylo Ren scene with like the dreaming or whatever was really cool.
Yeah, you get a little expansion a scene with Kylo Ren, and you get what was Luke doing after episode 6?
You get to play Goth Luke, and it's badass.
And he saves
right after he just burned his father.
And he saves a stormtrooper, and they become buddies. And the stormtrooper's like, maybe I'm the bad guy. And it takes you all the way from the second Death Star exploding, and you're on Endor, and you're a part of the Empire, and you're like, what do we do now? To the Battle of Jakku, which is where the Empire falls, all the way through till the end of Episode 7, where Starkiller Base blows up. It takes you through that whole gap.
Well...
And shows you Palpatine's contingency plan, Operation Ember, I think it was called.
After Battlefront 2 is Resistance TV show.
Yeah.
Isn't that going on at the same time?
There are a lot of things that overlap. For instance, the last 5 minutes of the last episode of Rebels takes you to the end of episode 6.
Battlefront 2, the video game, is pretty dope.
Check it out.
It's well done, play on a 4K TV, thumbs up. Okay, so right after that, or during that, is the Resistance TV show. There's been only 1 season out, and they just renewed it for a 2nd season. The first season is a complete waste of my time. I thought Rebels in the beginning was bad. I gave Resistance a chance. I don't like it at all. Kylo Ren's not in it. There's no backstory unless you really care about the red gangster suited dudes in episode 7.
The Commander Pyre.
No, the girl.
Golds. Well, Captain Phasma.
Phasma. You get to see Phasma and Resistance.
You get a gold stormtrooper.
But it doesn't. They don't do anything.
That's the thing.
There's nothing going on.
It doesn't add.
Here's some pictures and that's it. There's nothing. It
doesn't add to the plot of Star Wars.
It doesn't.
It doesn't expand on the mythos. It barely explains any backstory to the First Order. It just introduces 2 new characters that don't do much. Then the series literally ends with them going, where are we going? I don't know. The end.
And that's the first season.
So I guess
no one knew.
there's going to be a season 2.
It was just announced.
You did,
and they show Kylo Ren in the trailer.
Yeah, and you did say that you thought season 1 of Rebels was Nick Jr. garbage.
So then Resistance might be good.
So maybe season 2 of Resistance is better. But it was so bad that we actually started like skimming through episodes.
We read Wikipedia, we made sure that we didn't miss anything, but like I could not sit there and watch filler bullshit. I know I just watched so many movies and TV series and episodes of Star Wars, but I was more excited to rewatch Last Jedi than watch season 1 of Resistance, and that's saying something.
I 100% checked out of Resistance when they showed the giant gorilla lizard monkey. The only reason why you would be interested in Resistance is, Poe Dameron, they're gonna expand on his character.
Yeah, Poe Dameron is in it for a couple seconds, but it's nothing
he comes in and then goes, okay, they ran out of budget for Oscar Isaac. I'll be back when they get more money.
It's like
5 episodes come by and then he pops in again and they do something that doesn't really further the plot.
You see BB-8 for a second, you see where he came from, whatever, like from the base of the rat in the water, and then they go out, and then you don't see him again till the end of the thing. And it's just like, it's dumb. It's a waste of my time. They should have just started when Starkiller Base blew up. That would have been the first season, and you start with Kylo Ren, then I'd be hooked. But Disney, I don't know what you fucking did. That was just dumb. Resistance. No, I don't. Read the Wikipedia, watch the last 2 episodes if you really want to, and then watch season 2.
At the end, they literally show just Hux' speech from Force Awakens.
Waste of my time. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't be getting mad, but
he goes, "Oh no, my parents were on the planet that blew up," and we're like, "Cool. I wasn't invested in your character at all."
So I'm done with this. After Resistance, you're saying that Galaxy's Edge, the new land in Hollywood Studios,
somewhere in between there, because I think
canon in the Star Wars universe.
Galaxy's Edge is canon in the Star Wars universe. Galaxy's Edge, I think, takes place before Episode 7, because I think the ride they're adding, the Rise of the Resistance, is supposed to be... It's supposed to be one of the first official battles of the Resistance versus the First Order.
See, now you don't have to watch the TV series.
You can ride on the ride.
Yippee! You spend like $150 to get in for a day and get on the ride. I'm excited for that.
It's for the fans who give them more money.
So, Episode 7.
The Force Awakens.
We get introduced the best character ever. I keep saying that. Anakin, Palpatine, and Kylo Ren are the best characters of the whole series. Changed my mind.
Well, you're gonna get guaranteed 2 of those, if not possibly 3 in the new movie.
Okay, if they can bring Grievous, I'll just shit my pants with the
You know what's funny is that I was talking to Mom when they first announced Episode 9, and I was like, yeah, they were saying that they want this last movie to tie together the original trilogy and the prequels and bring stuff back from that, or at least reference it. And Mom just looks at me and goes, so they're gonna bring back General Grievous?
So, Force Awakens, very nostalgic movie. It's a direct copy of Episode 4. Which I got mad at when I was watching. I realized, I know people already reviewed it and talked about it all the time and watched Star Wars way more than I did. But watching Episode 4 and 5, watching the original trilogy, and I'm like, wait, this is Force Awakens. Why did they repeat the whole fucking series?
Because people don't like new things. They just want to see the thing they already recognize so they can clap at it.
But
look, a lightsaber! Millennium Falcon!
And that's why Star Wars should be a TV series. But anyways,
so
Force Awakens.
Clap in the comfort of your own home.
I liked Force Awakens, that all those characters came back. We got a new character called Rey, and we're
That's about it.
And that's all we fucking know.
New character named Rey.
2 movies, and we still don't know shit about her.
And
we're
she's
still guessing.
Still new character Rey.
And I mean, she's cool, but Kylo Ren, I mean, obviously you already see
Now, I will say, every time I've watched Force Awakens, and I've watched it at least 10 times now, I have a different feeling about it every time I see it.
What about the last time we watched it?
So the last time we watched it, I think I enjoyed it more than I had ever enjoyed it.
Why?
Because we watched it back to back with everything, I got to appreciate the cinematography that J.J. Abrams brought to it.
Oh my god.
And realize that looks really good, and I like it, and it's a good feeling for new Star Wars.
Yeah.
The story was still old Star Wars, and maybe they'll fix that, but the look of it, I like the look of new Star Wars.
It's updated Star Wars in a good way. Force Awakens is such like a solid movie. It's just like Episode 4.
Yeah,
Literally.
it's like not the best.
It's a solid, but it's
Episode 4 is
solid,
really good.
But it's a solid movie, just like Episode 4. Not story-wise. I mean, yes, but like...
I wouldn't say it's as solid as... I know the point you're making. I don't think it's as solid as Episode 4.
The look, the feel...
Because...
the comeback of Star Wars coming back.
You know what it doesn't have? That Episode 4 does have?
What?
Character.
Yeah,
to me,
there's
all the new characters are so boring or dull.
You just don't know too much about them, and it's just leaving you questions. Like
that's the thing, is like, I don't know.
And like by the end of the movie, it's just like, okay, so what is Rey? She's supposed to be the new Luke Skywalker? We don't know. Is she a filthy junk trader? I don't know. Is she a clone? I don't know. We'll get to that. Kylo Ren. I mean, what is he gonna do? Does he have Darth Vader powers? Who's Snoke? So many questions that nobody knows. But then I also think, like, if you didn't read the books when Episode 4, 5, and 6 came out, would you know what the fuck would happen in Episode 4? Like,
because George Lucas didn't write it yet.
Exactly, so we're doing the same fucking thing in Episode 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, but you go back to Episode 4...
But you didn't have Episode 4 when Episode 4 was going on. You only had one fucking Star Wars movie.
Yeah, when you had Star Wars, you still knew who Luke Skywalker was. You got to see him grow up in a single film from a farm boy to a war hero. Rey in the new one goes from
just a big ass
confused dust person to she can hold a lightsaber and she's helping.
I want to say there was a lot of fan service, but I also just like the stormtrooper with the lightsaber was cool, and in the battle thing, whatever. That whole scene looked so like staged. Like, I know obviously it's a movie, I get it, but
it looked like it was on
when you
set.
compare it to like the old trilogy with the set, and then the new trilogy with the set, when they were fighting on those rocks and shit, and then Kylo Ren took Rey on the ship, that looked so fake to me.
That was on Takodana, which was Maz Kanata's.
And where's Maz Kanata? And
that's the thing, is like all the characters are so wasted. They're like, here's a new character. What do they do?
See, now I enjoyed it, and now I'm like, so all
that's the thing. That's why I have a different feeling about them every time I watch them.
All of our questions will be answered in Episode 9.
Will Episode 9 make these movies better? Or will it make them worse? That's what Episode 9's gonna do, because you're either gonna see Episode 9 and go, oh! Or you're gonna see Episode 9 and go, oh, the new trilogy's bad.
I hope I shit my pants in the theater of Episode 9 in a good way, not in a bad way.
Either way, I'm gonna shit my pants.
But Force Awakens altogether was still a good movie.
It's a decent film. I like a lot about it, and I dislike a lot about it.
Okay.
It's pretty even. It's balanced. It's a balanced film.
We're balancing the galaxy.
Yeah, Force is balanced.
Okay.
Then you get to Last Jedi. I don't know even what words to say about this film.
So,
I want to say the first thing I noticed when watching The Last Jedi, because we watched Last Jedi
right after Force Awakens.
Immediately after Force Awakens.
Completely different cinematography.
And we're like, oh my god.
It's so weird.
This movie looks like a prequel. That's when it hit us. We're like...
He wanted to make a prequel. Rian Johnson?
Yeah.
Rian Johnson wanted to make a prequel movie.
Last Jedi looks very different from Force Awakens, which is really jarring to watch them back to back.
It's not that bad. Yes, it's probably the worst Star Wars movie, but if you appreciate the prequels and you like Ben Solo, it's fine.
It's 45 minutes too long.
It is dragged out a little long. They could have cut it or added something way more fucking exciting. I'm kind of mad they didn't add any more stuff. It's a lot of waiting around and anticipation, which I get. You want someone to be on the edge of their seat, but it's weird.
The movie doesn't go anywhere. you're at the beginning, and they're like, oh no, we can't get away from the First Order. So then we spend a fucking hour with a character that has been nothing but...
Oh, I hated her so much.
What are we doing? Which is Finn. And then another character that's...
No, I'm talking about the purple hair lady.
Oh, well, her too. And then we have a new character who's... I want to do something! And my sister's dead! And
I don't know where
they send them to prequel land. And not only is it prequel land, but then they get back from prequel land, and it didn't help.
I kind of appreciate... There was no reason for it, but I appreciated it.
And we get to the 2-hour mark of the film, and we're still in the same spot that we were at the beginning of the film. Did we learn some things? Yeah, we learned some stuff about Luke and Rey doing stuff, and she does some cool stuff, and I'm like, lightsaber, and she touches...
But do we find out who she is?
The magic mirror?
No, we don't.
Is she a clone? We get more questions for sure. We get more questions than learning. I want to say about at the 2-hour mark is when the throne room fight is, which is cool.
Which is the best fucking scene
it's really
ever.
Good.
I'm sorry, I'm saying that's probably the worst Star Wars movie, but that is one of the best scenes ever. So, I don't know, I'm very conflicted with Last Jedi.
We get a cool dynamic with Rey and
it's not that
Kylo
bad. The Last Jedi is not that bad. Yes, like, it's dragged on way too fucking long. Like, Quentin Tarantino, Blade Runner, spaghetti westerns, any long, dragged out movie, no matter if it was good or not, it was too long.
Okay, but you know what all of those movies do? The plot goes somewhere. And you're not left with more
everything
questions.
Is solved.
You're not
in
left
Blade
with
Runner
more
and
questions
Quentin Tarantino
and
movies
answers.
and spaghetti westerns. Everything like is alive and then dead or solved or whatever.
And maybe there's the question of like, oh, well, where's he going now? Or
but at least everything else is figured out.
But the story that you sat down to watch has concluded. The Last Jedi opens somewhere in the middle of a story, and then it ends, and you don't know where the ending is. It's somewhere probably 3 more hours down that way in episode 9.
I appreciate fan service of Kylo Ren. It's pretty much my favorite part of the movie. And I like Luke Skywalker. And I know Mark Hamill didn't like Last Jedi when he was filming it.
And then
but now he likes it.
He did turn around and say he liked where it
because
went.
he knows what the fuck's gonna happen in episode 9.
Yeah.
He knows something that we don't
like,
know.
I will say I liked kind of like grumpy, closed off from the Force.
I like it. I like that shit.
Like that they kill Snoke because they're just like, oh, we're doing something different.
I'm mad we don't know who he is, though.
I'm mad we don't know who he is, and that we are just now getting a comic series giving more backstory.
Yeah, we're watching Star Wars Theory. We're not reading a fucking comic. I'm just watching the video. There's a whole comic with Snoke and Kylo Ren training.
Yeah. Shout out Star Wars Theory. Very conflicted.
I'm very conflicted. I don't give it a thumbs
Force
anywhere.
Is unbalanced.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, we're at the ledge, and beyond this ledge is episode 9. Where do we go?
Episode 1.
Oh,
the
we
Phantom
go to
Menace.
the beginning of the
I
whole
was so
story.
excited to watch this movie again because I haven't seen the episode 1 and 2 for a very long time. I can't even remember the last time I watched it. I watched it in 2019. It is completely different experience. It is so nostalgic. I almost want to say episode 1 is a good movie. And it's just like, a lot of people can disagree, but I really like it.
It's like, because it's almost like it's at this point.
At this point in 2019.
There is so much nostalgia for it, and the memes for it.
The prequel memes on Reddit is...
And you're just like, at this point, even if it is bad, I'm having a good time.
It's a good time.
Which is interesting because the last time I think I had watched episode 1 was before Force Awakens. Because me and my friends sat down, we watched 1 through 6. Like,
oh, you already pre-did that.
We did just like the standard watch all the movies. I remember when we watched episode 1 there being the most long, boring, drawn out film. And then I watched it this time.
On a VHS.
And I went, I had a great time watching it.
We also binged through so many fucking Star Wars things in order. And then went back to the beginning, episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And who's the Phantom Menace? Palpatine.
Sidious? Yeah. Watto.
I really appreciate Watto.
I really appreciate Watto.
It's the funniest fucking thing in the world.
No, you won't. It's a fun time. I had fun.
It's a fun time. Qui-Gon Jinn, besides the main characters of the whole series, Qui-Gon Jinn's my favorite.
Yeah, and you get a lot of Qui-Gon referencing throughout, like, all the expanded stuff with
The
the
Clone
Wars,
Rebels, I think.
I think
They talked about him at least.
I think there's a mention or a Force premonition or something that involves him. Definitely in Clone Wars.
They talked about him in Revenge of the Sith. At least Obi-Wan did.
Well, yeah, at the end, because they're just, oh my god, is Liam Neeson gonna come back and play Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn for the Obi-Wan TV series? Because you know that's gonna be in it, because at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda sits Obi-Wan down and he's like, hey, I fucked off for a bit.
Wait, where's Obi-Wan the TV series gonna take place? Do we know that yet?
I think it takes place right after Episode 3.
Oh. Well, they might do, like, flashbacks.
No! He's gonna talk to Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn.
Possibly.
No, like, definitely. Because that was, like, the big thing where there's this gap where Obi-Wan was living in solitude to connect with the Force more, and that's where he learns to concentrate himself into a powerful ghost.
I'm gonna shit my pants.
Because you know in A New Hope, when Darth Vader's like, now I am the master, and he hits him, and he concentrates himself into the Force like a magic trick. Luke, run.
Episode 1, Jar Jar Binks, your favorite theme song at the end with the parade. Little Annie. Anakin down!
It's funny. It's a
fun.
funny joke.
Darth Maul.
Episode 1, fun time, funny joke.
But yeah, thumbs up. Episode
Attack
2.
of the Clones, the first fully digital film.
And the first one that did a zoom-in shot.
Possibly. Again, I think I had the same experience, whereas the last time I had watched Attack of the Clones, very long, very drawn out, very boring, what I felt. I think I was actually even saying, though, that I thought Episode 2 was better than Episode 1, because I felt Episode 1 was an unfinished film, whereas Episode 2 was at least finished, and if you take out the parts with crying Anakin, then it was okay. But now, upon rewatching them, I had a great time with Episode 1, and then Episode 2, I didn't really mind the Anakin parts, even.
I didn't, because Anakin's such a good character, and it is weird with the whole Padme thing. He questions everybody, like the Jedi and Palpatine and Padme, like, why can't I do this? I feel like this, and I'm trying, and
remember,
it's not working.
he's 19.
Yeah. I keep forgetting about the Colosseum scene with the, what are they?
The Geonosians?
The Geonosians.
Geonosis. It's very important.
Every time I hear Episode 2 from people are always like, oh, it's such a love story, no one gives a fuck, and it's all about sand, and like...
It's rough,
I'm like,
it's coarse, and it gets everywhere.
No, like, there's so much more to it, and I'm not focusing on the love story. I'm focusing on the whole fucking picture, and then Obi-Wan with his damn mullet, and going to the water place with the clones, and they're like, we were expecting you, and he's like, what the fuck, like, what are you fucking talking
and
about?
Sifo
And runs into fucking Jango Fett, and then he's all like, it's that whole scene's pretty dope too. I mean, it's because you miss some, like, if you haven't,
kicks him.
Yeah, like, if you haven't seen the prequels, like, there's a lot of scenes in there that you don't really remember, or, like, oh yeah, that did happen. There's a lot going on in Episode 2 besides a love story and bullshit.
And that's why when I originally watched it, and I was saying Episode 2's the better
not that
film,
bad.
when I was trying to have, like, an argument, like, oh, what's the worst prequel? Because most people would say Episode 2's the worst one.
I used to say that.
And then I was trying to be like, no, Episode 2's better than Episode 1, because everything else that happens in Episode 2 is fine, just take Anakin out. But then watching it this time and realizing with the context of everything and the shows and everything, it makes all these movies
It makes a lot of sense.
better. Like, Clone Wars really improved what the prequels did. And
Yeah.
it also made me realize why people thought the way they did when these movies came out, because they didn't have the Clone Wars. They didn't have all these things
It
that
also came
expanded
out
on
later,
the story.
but I mean, like...
Yeah, they didn't have all these things to expand on the story, so they just had the movie. And the movie by itself isn't that great.
It's also, it's kind of, like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you know everything about Star Wars. it's kind of required after doing all this. You kind of need to know everything going on to have an actual final judgment or say or rating or whatever on all of these movies. A lot of it doesn't make sense if you haven't seen the Clone Wars TV series or Rebels or read the books or whatever. It connects everything and you're like, oh, that makes sense. This part was in a featured film and this TV series shows the backstory of this feature film. Episode 2's, I give it a thumbs up.
The last thing that we had to watch, which was the Clone Wars movie, because we actually didn't start watching the Clone Wars series with the movie, we just started watching the show. I think that's the one, besides like original trilogy, because obviously like I knew those movies were good, then they stand the test of time. Besides the original trilogy, that was the one movie that I think I didn't have a different opinion on when I watched it.
Really?
Because when I saw it the first time, I was kind of like, okay. And watching it this time around, I enjoyed it a bit more because I had now grown to love Asajj Ventress and Ahsoka Tano and the Clone Wars. But the Clone Wars show definitely ends up being way better than that film was.
When I first watched that Clone Wars movie, I didn't watch Clone Wars TV series yet. I thought it was bullshit. I didn't understand it, so I was just like, this is boring, I don't understand. But rewatching it after everything, I was actually really excited to watch the Clone Wars movie of the TV series, because it's just like a giant pilot episode.
It's exactly what it is. And
it sets up the whole like Anakin and Ahsoka and everybody, and it's kind of cool.
And you get to see Jabba the Hutt's gay uncle. And they gotta save Jabba the Hutt's baby that you never see ever again or hear about ever again.
The Clone Wars movie,
Jabba the Hutt's baby,
was fine. It was just, I was happy to watch it from start to finish because it was just a closure in our watching of 5-6 months. It was just a good, like, final, like, we did it, we watched all this shit.
It was nice because it brought us back to where we started.
And now we're ready for the new season of the Clone Wars TV series on Disney+.
And The Mandalorian.
And The Mandalorian.
And
when The Mandalorian taking place?
Sometime during the Galactic Civil War.
We watched some non-canon stuff in parodies.
Well, yeah, so then we were like, oh, well, there was the Gendy Tartakovsky.
That was so fucking badass.
Cartoon.
I love Samurai Jack, so it was just like really cool.
Season 1 of that is like a bunch of like 3-minute episodes, and then season 2 is like a handful of like 12-minute, 13-minute
There's not a lot
episodes.
of dialogue in it. But
I mean, that's
good.
like Gendy's style, which...
Samurai Jack.
So what's interesting is that those actually, season 1 of that, there's technically nothing to say that any of that's not canon, unless there's like a book or something. But then it does end with stuff that doesn't happen because it bridges the gap between 2 and 3. And we're like, oh, well...
I wish it was canon, like, the whole scene when he goes help the, like, aliens, Anakin, and he, like, takes his shirt off.
And he gets the blue
like,
paint and everything.
Blue paint and shit. I thought that was dope. That was such a cool scene. That was such, like, a Samurai Jack mission. Grievous is fucking badass in it. He's a cute robot. And he also trained with Count Dooku. You get to see that. And
they go, oh, Mace Windu crushed his lungs.
That's canon, right?
I believe so, because that's why he's coughing when he gets on the ship.
I wish they fucking showed that in Revenge of the Sith. Wouldn't you want to see that in a feature film?
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith would have been really cool if it started with Chancellor Palpatine's kidnapping.
Anyways, my favorite parody is Robot Chicken with Jar Jar Binks, and he goes, "Hey, yeah!" Like, that shit's just funny to me.
Robot Chicken does a good job parodying Star Wars.
It's great.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many parodies that we didn't watch, obviously, because there's
watched
an endless
clips
amount
of stuff.
We could have watched Thumb Wars.
We watched some of the Family Guy one just in clips because I'm not buying that shit or getting a subscription for that. But the best part is when the chicken, the fighting big chicken, is Boba Fett, and then Peter is like,
the chicken's Boba Fett.
The chicken's Boba Fett. So we concluded our Star Wars watching from
canon.
like March to August roughly of 2019. So it was about 5 to 6 months of watching 15 things. If you want to count the Gundam cartoon, 16.
And then 3 of those are TV series.
Yeah, that's a lot of hours.
What do we get to put our money towards next for Star Wars?
After watching everything, who is your favorite character, Dominic? Dengar.
There's a lot
Like,
in Star Wars.
Name like the top 3 out of everything, like from episode 4, 5, and 6, from episode 7 and 8,
Okay.
from episode 1, 2, and 3. Like, from you think of a Star Wars character, who is your favorite? Grievous,
I love
Luke, Darth Vader, Anakin,
Palpatine.
Obviously, he's just like.
I love Ian McDiarmid. He's a very good actor. Even back in Return of the Jedi, I like Hondo Ohnaka, which is my favorite thing that the animated series added.
I forgot about him, and he's
is now a major character in Galaxy's Edge, which is really cool.
My God.
Which means that he's still alive during the current trilogy. Will we see Hondo Ohnaka in Episode 9? Possibly.
Oh, fucking shit, my God.
Maybe not.
Then he'll probably be in Resistance in the 2nd season. That's gonna that'll make sense.
Damn it, now I have to watch it.
I
mean, we're gonna watch it either way, whether we want to or not. Palpatine, great character. Hondo, great character. I like Grievous.
So your favorite?
I'd say he's a favorite. I'd say he was my favorite in episode 3 besides Palpatine. Watto. You know, watching through all of Star Wars, like, I remember even as a kid, I never really cared too much for Luke because obviously, like, as a kid, the original trilogy for like a child's attention span is not as easy to watch as the prequels are, because the prequels you just go, oh, look at all the stuff on the screen, and the original trilogy you're just kind of like, there's not as much stuff on screen, so I'm not as invested. Upon watching this, I really got to appreciate his character more, because obviously we saw it start to finish. Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
I like him the best in that film, because that's like where he's at his prime. I'm like, yeah, Luke. I really liked Ezra, like at the end when like how they concluded him. I wouldn't say I liked him individually as a character, but I like his character arc.
Just that whole Rebels towards the end was so good. Kanan and Hera, and then
honestly, like best love story in Star Wars is in Rebels.
Oh my God! Like it was just so good. Like we were so into it. It was like a love story. It was better than any of the movies.
But yeah, I like Star Wars. Who do you Star Wars, Jacqueline?
Anakin, Darth Sidious, aka Palpatine, and Kylo Ren, and Grievous, and Padme's outfit in episode 2.
Obi-Wan.
I also like episode 1 Padme. I think of costumes now.
I really like how snarky Obi-Wan is, and
Obi-Wan is just I don't know why he's not my favorite character, but he's like the best character in Star Wars.
I feel like Star Wars has a lot of those, where it's like they're not my favorite, but they're the best.
I like Hera.
Yes, I loved Hera in Rebels.
I like Hondo. I like Princess Leia.
I didn't like seeing her fly.
Okay, we didn't talk about that. That didn't make no fucking sense. I still don't understand why that happened. And why she's not a fucking Jedi.
Well, George Lucas alluded to it, but the story wasn't about her, it was about her brother.
I just can't wait till everyone's waiting to get answers.
Anticipation.
What's your favorite creature from Star Wars?
Oh my God, all the toys I could buy! I like the Loth cats from Rebels.
And the spider from episode 2.
Wait, when you said cat, were you talking about in the episode 2?
Episode 2.
Oh, see, I'm talking about the Loth cats in Rebels.
I like the Force Wolves in Rebels.
Right.
Because they're ginormous.
And
they're even anime.
The iguana in
episode 3?
In episode 5.
5.
When they're on Dagobah, with Yoda.
Oh my God.
And there's just an iguana and a python.
I thought you're talking about the thing that Obi-Wan was.
Oh, I love that thing too.
Like, what's your favorite scene in Star Wars?
Like I said before, the skiff scene in Return of the Jedi, Luke and Darth Vader's fight in episode 5. I like when Darth Vader gets kicked off of the top of the carbon freezing chamber and he goes, "Arr!" I like the funny when Obi-Wan says hello there. I like all the funnies in
the negotiator.
In episode 3. There's too many of them. What are we going to do?
The kids?
Yeah.
horrible.
Best funny.
I like Darth Maul, Duel Fates, Episode 1, Qui-Gon Jinn with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, that's the
John
best.
Williams is the best
John
Star Wars
Williams
character.
has never made a bad song. Like, Grievous fight scene. I think a lot of fight scenes. I like Anakin in Episode 3, just all together, to be honest.
Episode 3 soundtrack's one of my favorites. I love the soundtrack.
All the
of
good
that.
songs came from the prequels. I mean, to an extent.
I mean, there's good stuff in the OG trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, again, John Williams has never made a
But-
bad song.
I like the scene from Last Jedi with Rey and Kylo Ren. I know I'm talking about Last Jedi, but messed up as it was, I like the most awkward scene with Luke getting
The green.
the green milk. It looked like he had like a Coca-Cola and he was sponsoring it. I like Grievous in the Clone Wars.
The movie, you don't get a lot of him. You're just kind of like, oh, why is he coughing? Oh, he's running away. Oh, he's got 4 arms? Okay. Oh,
It was
he's
just fun
dead.
to watch him a lot. Like, it was just cool. What do we think? What's gonna happen in Episode 9? Okay, I hope we get the time, space, force thing we see, or hear, at least, every character. And I think the meaning of Rise of Skywalker is not the new version of Jedi, but is the Rise of Skywalker is Anakin.
Skywalker.
I think he's gonna come back somehow. I don't know if Kylo Ren's going to die. I don't think he is. And from the beginning of Episode 7, with all the actors and stuff, they know what the fuck's gonna happen.
We'll see Kylo Ren looking at Darth Vader's burnt up helmet and saying, I will finish what you started.
Bring balance and force.
To bring balance to the Force. Remember, even in Episode 3, I think Anakin was talking about, like, overthrowing Palpatine and ruling the galaxy together with Padme. So, like, he always had this different ulterior motive than just what the Empire was. But he was under control because he was in a pain suit
He also went to the dark side.
and was in pain constantly every waking
Oh,
moment.
Darth Vader or Kylo Ren?
Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah, and then there was rumors that, like, his suit and his helmet controlled him being in the
Yeah, it
darkness
could be
and stuff.
possessed.
But we don't know that for sure.
Or
I
it
don't
kept
know
him-
if that's in
it
a
kept
comic or
him-
not.
In the dark side. I think there is a comic that I think is canon that alludes to the fact that it's possible that Palpatine influenced the biblical-esque birth of Anakin.
That's totally
The
canon.
virgin birth
Yeah, it's like,
of the chosen one. But then, there's another line that Darth Maul says as he's dying in Obi-Wan's arms when he's referring to Luke.
oh.
And he says, is he the chosen one? And
Wait, that was in Rebels?
Yeah, and Obi-Wan's
Yeah,
like,
Darth
yeah.
Maul's in Rebels.
And Darth Maul's like, he'll avenge us. And he does. Luke takes out the Empire.
I hope they reference
So,
that
in a way, they've kind of retconned that there is a single chosen one, and that there
It's
could be
Anakin.
many chosen ones.
It's Anakin.
But see, the thing is that our main character is Rey, and I feel like our main character not only has to be the chosen one of this trilogy, but also has to be the Skywalker of this trilogy. And I think somehow, some way, some shape or some form, Rey is a Skywalker. I don't know how.
But we don't know how, which is irritating.
A clone,
No,
perhaps?
I don't think she's a fucking clone, dude.
A twin sister that was not told about by Leia and Han Solo.
Or Palpatine.
Because she
her somewhere.
she does seem to be the same age as Kylo Ren.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're brother and sister, and then like Kylo Ren's lying to her, or
And then
something,
that's-
or didn't know.
That's playing off the but then that would
But we
make all
don't
their
know.
weird like romantic tension in 7
But we don't
awkward.
know if they're allowed to kiss or not.
But
we don't know if it's
we had
that
romantic
fucking
tension with Luke and Leia, and then they were brother and sister.
Okay, but it's
So-
2019, bro.
It could be in reference to those films. That could be what we're getting.
It's
And
just
then
it's just frustrating because we don't have any other
Dark
answers.
Rey, Vision,
Dark Ray.
Real.
We don't know. I really like the since we watched the Clone Wars TV series, we know where that lightsaber came from.
Oh yeah, it's the Temple Guard saber.
It's a Temple Guard saber that's originally yellow.
But I think because we've even seen Yoda fight his dark self.
Yes, everybody fights their dark self.
So I feel like, and we see Luke fight his dark self, which isn't as grandiose, but that's what it is in the original trilogy. So I feel like this is going to be like the grandiose fighting your inner demon kind of thing.
Do you think Kylo Ren's gonna train Rey? What do we know?
We know nothing.
We know the Death Star is in water.
We know
Kylo Ren and Rey fight again. We know Palpatine is in the movie somehow.
We know Lando is in the movie.
Lando's in the movie somehow. What is he gonna do?
Oh, when saying favorite characters, he's definitely up there.
Okay, what's Lando gonna do in Episode 9?
He's gonna be old.
Drive the aluminum Falcon and walk
Falcon
with a cane and then... I don't know.
That's it. That's why he's there. He's gonna drive the Falcon. He's old.
Watch this all be fucking bullshit.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams just like, and then George Lucas wakes up in his bedroom. Supposedly, George Lucas is working with J.J. Abrams on this film.
I'm scared. But another thing that gives me hope, Kevin Smith said he saw the final scene when they were filming it.
He saw the final set.
Yeah, but it's the final scene.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's something like that. But then he said it made him cry, and it's a scene or a set that you wouldn't think you would see in Star Wars. I'm scared. I don't know what's gonna happen, and it's just like I don't want to think about it until it's out. So after talking about Episode 9 for way too long,
Star Wars,
we are going to Galaxy's Edge.
Star Wars.
We'll need you to come with us. Escorting to Med Shuttle for neuroretinal bioscan. Semi-invasive. What? Who gave that order? Right. Of course. I have decided to release you. You are welcome. Carry on, citizen.
Okay.
And then I'll be back when Resistance is open.
And then I'll go back and give them more money. Good night!